But guys, without further ado, I have the honor of introducing our A16, Cristina Godoy, to the call. Cristina, take it away. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys. Good morning, everyone. Grecia, absolutely loved your presentation. Actually, I was trying to concentrate on mine. Like, I'm gonna polish it. I'm gonna put it together. And I was like, I can't. I have to pay attention to her. She was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely, many different ways to get to Rome. I don't think I could have done it. So I'm glad. I feel safe. Give me one second. My computer just popped up something here. I'm glad that I'm a different generation. That sounds very, very complicated for my brain, but I completely understand how it's working for you. So I applaud your content. Thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna try to get to Gracio's content level, but don't expect too much because I'm very, very passionate about a subject that it doesn't need a PowerPoint right now. Okay, so I want to give you guys some A16 perspective or a multi-million dollar business perspective. Okay, it is important to know if you don't know by now, either because you're getting into the industry, into a company like me with zero experience, like 13 years ago, that you know your markets. Did you know that the number one market in the industry is the US? United States is the number one marketing in the industry of network marketing. Number two, Asia, Pacific Rim. Not only China, everything in Asia. And number three, Latin America. So keep that in mind while I'm kind of sharing some stories with you. I took the time to research in the most successful companies here in the industry. What are their markets out of these three? What are the most successful markets? And for two companies, the most successful markets are in Asia, and then the US, and then Latin America. And for one of them was the US. So I need that to put where I am as a business owner in my own company, and where we're going, right? So I think, and please, you let me know, correct me. Let's kind of do this interactive. I want to hear your answers. When I started my business back in the day, I didn't grasp the magnitude of all of this, but very soon I realized the dream for every network marketing is to expand their business internationally, to find someone somewhere where the business explodes and you say you have an international business. Well, in my case, I started my business in my own backyard. Four of my six legs were in my own backyard. And then Lena, which is my childhood friend, only one leg for me, in this case, Peru, was not made in my own backyard. And my business until today completely expanded in Latin America, in international, not only in Latin America by now. So regardless of where you are building, I think the dream is to have an international business. March 31st, I listened to a podcast with the CEO of Direct Sales News. So, Stuart Johnson, with 40 years of experience in the industry, he was, as a matter of fact, I shared it with David. He was analyzing the past, the present, and the future of the industry. And one thing he said, like I'm sharing with you, number one market in the world is the US, but the future of the industry, it's in Latin America. So let's land it here. That's good. That's great. Why? Because we have a market, the US market, which to me, and if you look around all the names again, and I kind of prep you last Wednesday to do that, it's 100% a virgin market for us here in the company. The US, it's 100% a virgin market. And our stronger market right now has been the future of the industry, which is Latin America. So keep that in consideration when you are building your business. Another thing to keep up in consideration when you're building your business is to have a clear mission, a clear vision, and an attractive message. So back in my day, 13 years ago, I knew exactly what I wanted out of this business. I had a mission, I had a vision, and I had a message. What was my mission? To work from home so I can stay with my kids. What was my vision? To create a life that I didn't have to work at all, to sacrifice certain time of my life under respecting my priorities, looking 5 years into what I was doing and not have to do it again. And what was my message? My message was changing my financial life, staying home with my kids, and helping other moms to do the same. So, what was my audience? Who do you think was my audience with that mission, with that vision? Moms like me. As a matter of fact, if you look into the first 3 to 5 levels of my organization, they're moms that at the time their kids were little. And who I was somehow duplicated. Do you have a clear mission? Clear missions are so important because they create movements, allies, supporters, even followers. This is so important for this business. And again, I'm not Bible, but I'm speaking on my own story of a multi-million-dollar business in different parts of the world. It's part of your conversation. It's part of who you are. You start acting if you have to implement it, if something new that you're going to work on, then you start acting on it. For me, it was just my natural flow. I came with that to duplicate it. Now, why is this so important right now? Why is part of this conversation? A week ago, I was invited to Latinos in Acción, and I spoke about this, and they invited me to speak the same, but in English. So we're starting a new season right now. Naturally, it's just a new season. It's the fall season. And the fall season marks the shedding of the old and the dry. And it also marks the celebration of harvest. And harvest is the collection of what we planted, correct? At some point in another season, usually in the spring. So this is a season of change where you and I need to analyze where we are. What have we done? Are we where we would like to be? Are we living out of the harvest? Or are we still stuck in the same season? You need to change what hasn't worked and implement things that work. So coming up is a season of planting, which is the spring. And then you have another opportunity to harvest, which is 2026, next fall. So a week ago in that call, I shared with you guys that Ryan called to a meeting for leadership in Guadalajara, Mexico on February this year. And I called him and I said, hey, do you really want me to go? You're going to have all your leaders there. Save me the trip. Do I really need to go to Guadalajara? It was inconvenient for me. And he said, please be there. He didn't say anything else. I want you there. Please be there. So I got to Guadalajara, like literally dragging my feet. I did not want to go to that meeting. But I have something that has been a blessing. It's part of my personality. Believe it or not, I am very obedient. So I got to Guadalajara. February 27th, I think, was that meeting, or the 28th. And the first thing I noticed when I got into the meeting, Ryan started speaking, some leaders were there, and I started noticing, oh, wow, this meeting has a mission, has a vision, and has a message. And it caught my attention. It caught my attention. And not only caught my attention, but it helped me to commit for the next season of my business. Immediately next day, my mind started working on first analyzing the first 7 years, and then strategizing, what am I going to do with this commitment that I feel right now? Because there is another season coming. How can I reap the benefits of planting in this season to harvest on that season? And I do the business, and I just had this conversation with someone, very, very deep conversation. I don't think I've ever had it with anyone in these 13 years, but I'm going to share a little bit of that conversation with you. I do this business in a completely different way that you, me, or anyone, no, that you and I can do it. And I do my business on my knees. I know what I want, and I just put it at God's feet. And while you guys have signed, and I admire you for it, and please keep doing it, hundreds of people in the years that you've done this business, I don't think I have signed 60 people in 13 years. Because on my knees, I am very clear and very intentional asking God what He has already given me to see and how He's going to make it happen. Why is that important? Because we have all the systems, we have all the resources, we have the platform, we have all the elements. But recognizing what we can do and we cannot do, it gives a divine intervention power to actually make it happen. I connected in Guadalajara, Mexico. And when I got here, my mind, that shift of my mind was so powerful that, to make the story very, very short, that validates everything I've said so far, my business in the last 4 months, 4 months, has accumulated a new volume. That means nothing to do with the 7 years volume produced before, up to $900,000 of new volume in my business. All because of obedience, surrendering, commitment, and action. It didn't just fall on my lap. The seasons are so important to recognize because, again, we are in a business of growth. It's a very logical way to describe this business. You start as an A1 and your goal is to become an A16. That means you have built enough leaders to create an organization that produces at least $1 million, not only in one leg, not only by luck, but in different legs that are required in your business. It is very important that you combine those elements. And remember, I think the word for today is obedience, because a new season is coming. I remember 18 years ago, I got a new job. 18 years ago. From the very first day, I detested my job. I was a media consultant for the Republican caucus, the legislators here in California. And the only reason why I didn't like my job, it was because it was a very slow pace compared to the rush of a newsroom. And every single day I asked God, why do you want me here? What is the reason you want me here? Why is this season so boring? Why do I have to do this job? But I never quit because I knew it was a purpose. I was just going through these seasons, asking, paying attention. 5 years later, I met a lady that introduced me to this industry right there in the same floor where I was working for 5 years. She gave me the my card to freedom. Let's put it that way. 6 months after, I was able to leave that job and completely understood and recognized the commitment that I have put to a job I didn't like, the obedience, and the new season. Do you have that mission? Do you have a vision? Do you have a message? If you ask me today, Christina, what is your message? What is your vision? Who is your audience? I asked myself while I was writing this yesterday, and I struggled. I don't think I know. But honestly, as an organization, I don't think we know. I don't think we're just targeting everything and anything that creates volume. It is so important to have a mission, especially if you want to grow, if you want to escalate your business at a different pace. I needed the results of this business. I needed a target. I needed an audience that I knew how to speak to. As I look into this call, I appreciate the 100 people that are here. I don't know if you come here to this call because you want to practice your English. If you live here in the US, or if you don't have anything to do on a Saturday morning. And it was a struggle for me to put this presentation together. I knew if you invite me to Ryan's call on the land market, I knew who I was going to speak with. I feel confident. I knew who my audience was. Here is like, I'm at US. I asked them, hey, are the new people from the Asian markets that we are building right now going to be in this call? So it is so important as an organization that we identify who we are speaking with, so the message resonates, because it doesn't matter how good my message is if it goes to the wrong audience. If you ask me today, Christina, if you invite me today, say, Christina, I'm going to invite you to a business where you can stay home with your kids. You can stay home with your kids and you can raise your kids. I'll be like, what? No, thank you. Can you invite me to a business where I can travel, where I can serve, where I can build something? Because my kids are busy. My kids are with their friends. Your message is not going to resonate with me. Your mission and your vision, as clear as it could be, is not going to resonate with me. But you didn't take the time to recognize me as your audience. Why? Because you don't know that I'm in a different season. That season of my life, I knew I had an assignment. I knew I had to take it serious. I knew I had an expiration date. My kids were going to grow. And I remember Claudia Valdez every single day when she said, your kids are going to need you more as teenagers than babies. And I said, I need to go to work in the middle of the night. I need to be on my knees when no one's looking. I need to take this business and this assignment so serious that I could harvest when my kids are teenagers. And thank God, that's exactly what happened. I really hope you take this season as your planting season. And I really pray a spring season for you, because I know what's coming in November, it's big. The information corporate is going to share with those that are going to be on that event is so big that the more seeds you have in this season, the more you're going to harvest. I always tell my kids there's two type of audiences: the ones that watch what happens and the ones that act and make it happen. So it's up to you. It's up to you. So regardless if you came to practice your English, or you didn't have anything to do on a Saturday morning, or you're part of the 0.00000000001% that live here in the US and are with us this morning, I hope you really take your assignment in this season very seriously, because it has an expiration date. God bless you all. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Colton.